They were a boyfriend and girlfriend serial killer duo, and they were obsessed with obtaining sex slaves. Hello, true crime fans, and welcome to Behind the Yellow Tape. Today we delve into one of the most disturbing chapters in American criminal history, the reign of terror orchestrated by Gerald and Charlene Gallego, often dubbed the sex slave killers. Their story is a grim illustration of codependent evil spanning a period between 1978 and 1980 across multiple Western states. They were a husband and wife serial killing team, and their method of operation was as insidious as it was chilling. Gerald Armand Gallego, a man with a troubled and violent past, met Charlene Williams, a young woman nearly 10 years his junior, and their twisted dynamic began to form. They cruised the West Coast, often along Interstate 80 in Charlene's distinctive 1973 Dodge Ram van. They were hunting, not for treasures, but for victims to fulfill Gerald's dark fantasy of owning a sex slave. The couple's method was carefully planned. Charlene, approachable and young, would serve as the lure. She would approach young women and girls ranging in age from 13 to 34 with a variety of convincing ruses. An invitation to a party, a request for help distributing flyers, or even an offer to sell drugs. Once the unsuspecting victim was close to or inside the van, the facade would drop. Gerald would appear, often brandishing a weapon, and the abduction would begin. What followed was a horrific pattern of prolonged sexual assault, psychological torture, and eventual murder. The victims were restrained and driven to remote secluded locations, sometimes across state lines. The couple claimed at least 10 victims during their 2-year spree. The methods of murder varied, including shooting, bludgeoning, and strangulation. One confirmed pair of early victims was 16-year-old Kippy Jacqueline Vaught and 17-year-old Rhonda Lee Scheffler, two high school students abducted from a shopping plaza in Sacramento in September 1978. The net began to close in 1980 with the disappearance of Stacy Ridican and Karen Twiggs from a Sacramento shopping mall. Their bodies were later discovered in shallow graves in Nevada. The distinctive rope used to tie the girls became a key piece of evidence. It was the subsequent breakdown of the Gallegos' relationship and the turning of one against the other that ultimately brought their crimes to light. In a stunning legal maneuver, Charlene, facing the full weight of the law, chose to cooperate with authorities. She provided damning testimony against Gerald, detailing the kidnappings, sexual assaults, and murders she participated in. She was never legally married to Gerald, a point he attempted to use unsuccessfully in court to invoke spousal privilege. Charlene's plea bargain was a lifeline. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and received a reduced sentence in exchange for her full testimony. Gerald Gallego, however, was convicted in Nevada for the murders of Stacy Ridican and Karen Twiggs and sentenced to death. He was also later convicted for other murders in California. Gerald Gallego died in prison in 2002. Charlene Gallego, the woman who lured victims into the van and participated in the crimes, served just 16 years and was released on parole in 1997. Her freedom remains a subject of intense controversy among true crime followers and the victims' families. The case of Gerald and Charlene Gallego remains a grim benchmark in the history of serial murder, a chilling reminder of how a shared pathology can amplify the darkest human impulses. Thank you for listening today, and remember, stay behind the yellow tape.